Waiting for the second meeting turned out a real torture for Max. He was not too worried, but he was extremely uncomfortable, and awkwardness and shame played absolutely no role here. He should have been ashamed last time when he broke into a burning body, catching sweat ecstatic moans with his lips. Now he was afraid that this time everything could be completely different. He was afraid of disappointment, of the absence of that tender and at the same time bright atmosphere that so stuck him that night. He had just sat down at the table when the usual silence was broken by a short call to the intercom. Today it didn't even take him 30 minutes. Max immediately got up, unlocked the door, and stopped at the far wall of the corridor, feeling for some reason an irresistible desire to meet this person right here. Todd chose an informal style this time, dark jeans and a leather jacket, and Max couldn't help but marvel at his exceptional dissimilarity from who he was. Todd in turn smiled happily at the sight of him. Something in Max's inside had fluttered again from this shining look. Hurriedly took off his shoes and did something that Max, despite the well-known nature of their relationships, was not ready for at all. He ran up to him, and having squeezed in the already familiar bone-crushing embrace, he covered his lips with a confident, demanding soft kiss. Max was intoxicated by his proximity in an instant. His heart began to pound with unprecedented strength, forcing him to respond to what was happening so as not to simply drown in this strange battle of tenderness and perseverance. He would have liked to laugh at his excessive sensitivity, which turned him into an inexperienced youth, but now was clearly no time to laugh. It was time to worry, not to have fun. However, there was something good in this situation too. Max had no doubts now that this monster didn't serve a dozen of people in a week for sure. Probably he didn't have so many clients. Otherwise, where would such insatiability come from? He tried not to think about why he was so preoccupied by that. Although not without efforts, he still managed to break the embrace and told to Todd, reservedly smiling. Calm down, man. We have the whole night ahead of us. I didn't have time to have dinner. Will you join me? Of course I will, Todd smiled back, not taking his eyes off him. As you wish. The already familiar feeling of vague confusion grabbed Max for a second, but he immediately threw it away and headed for the kitchen. Todd followed at his heels, causing unusual excitement and at the same time filling everything around with pleasant, cheerful coziness. Max took his usual place at the head of the table, and Todd sat on his right, so that there was no more than half a meter between them. Enjoy, Max said, nodding at the food on the table. It must be delicious. Todd was incredibly excited about the prospect of having dinner together, and therefore he started eating without any objections. Max liked this too. He even smiled, imperceptibly watching the energetic guest. And then he remembered suddenly, "By the way, what's your name?" "Todd," answered Todd without any worry. It was not the rarest name after all. "And your name is Max, I know." Max didn't ask how he knew that. It was completely clear that the administrators had told him. He asked another question instead. "How old are you?" "I'm 25. "I see." Max grinned again. 2 years younger than me. "So what?" Todd said carelessly, concentrating his attention on him. "What's wrong with that?" "Nothing." Max shrugged his shoulders. "It's just a fact. You need to rest more." Todd was examining his face attentively. "You're too pale." I'm always like that. No, you're not. Todd said that too sharply and immediately added softer. I don't think so. Maybe you're right. Max didn't argue. I usually try not to reboot myself. But as you've already noticed, it doesn't always work out. The work is endless. It is also necessary just to live. For the first time since they'd met, Max laughed. Although he laughed reservedly and quietly, that was enough for Todd to stare at him as the eighth wonder of the world. Are you a philosopher? Asked Max, still smiling. Something is wrong here. Does it sound so ridiculous from me? Exactly.